Look, the president said a lot of things, but it comes down to this, that I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have. He says that on audio. You can listen to it. Essentially, that sounds like find me enough votes to overturn the election results and win Georgia. So is that request or demand, if you will, in itself problematic?
I think it is. Here in Georgia, it's a crime to solicit someone to commit election fraud. And I agree with you, telling someone, especially the Secretary of State, to find enough votes to swing the election in my favor after every vote has been counted and the results have been certified is certainly enough to launch an investigation. I think it's enough probable cause for an indictment.
All right. He did bring up the debunk theories that ballots were shredded in Fulton County and that voting machines operated by Dominion voting systems were tampered with and replaced. Raffensperger firmly said, no, that's not the case. That data is not true. Look, the president said, you know what they did and you're not reporting it. You know that's a criminal offense. Now, is that part, can that be construed as a threat or not in that context?
You know, I think that the president can float whatever conspiracy theories that he wants about the Georgia election, but it doesn't change the fact that he was asking the Secretary of State to change the results of the election for his benefit. So yes, I think it's certainly a threat.
You know, given that's the case in Georgia, what do you think are the most likely, I guess, charges that he could be potentially prosecuted for? And would there be any political will to even do that?
Well, the charges would likely be brought in Fulton County, and he could certainly be charged with soliciting election fraud, probably soliciting an official to produce a false report, perhaps extortion. The really interesting thing is we have a new district attorney in Fulton County who's been on the job a couple days. And she was instrumental in prosecuting cheating in Atlanta public schools. That's a trial that lasted for 8 months. 11 out of the 12 teachers were convicted. And she ran on a platform of eliminating public corruption from the prior DA. So she's very experienced and very strong in these public corruption areas. And lawyers in Georgia have really been coming out in support of her doing something.
Okay, but what about the fact that the Secretary of State's people recorded that conversation? Is that legal in Georgia?
It's both legal in Georgia and in D.C. Both Georgia and D.C. are one-party consent states, meaning that if you know you're being recorded, if you're recording the call, then it's legal.
Unlike California, for example.
Right.
Okay. All right. So I want to ask you, what about federal charges? What federal charges could they be? And also, you know, just how likely is it that they will pursue anything? Because, first of all, you know, President-elect Biden has sort of indicated he would like everything to kind of be left behind in terms of distractions. He wants to govern. So what do you think?
You know, I think you're looking at exactly the right area, because President-elect Biden is going to nominate the next United States Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia, and that's the federal official who will decide whether to bring charges, federal charges, against Trump here in Georgia. So I would look very carefully at who President-elect Biden nominates, and I think that'll signal to you whether there's the political will for the top federal prosecutor here in Atlanta to bring charges.
All right, Ryan, don't go away because we have a couple minutes to wrap up this conversation on Facebook Live, but here on air, we'll take a short break right now.
In commercial break.
And we are here with Atlanta area criminal defense lawyer Ryan Locke. Ryan, I want to ask you this. How do you think this whole controversy, this conversation, will affect tomorrow's Georgia Senate races from a legal standpoint, if at all?
You know, I don't know if it will affect the elections from a legal standpoint. I mean, it's certainly sending political shockwaves through Georgia. This cannot help the Republican candidates. And I think I saw Senator Loeffler was campaigning with the governor from another state even today on the campaign trail. It certainly makes it difficult, I think, for them.
But does it the fact that there's kind of a legal contradiction in saying that my loss was not legal, but your win, your Republican House, candidates were valid. How does that work legally, right? How do you accept one without the other?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can logically, legally. And I think we've seen conservatives be intellectually dishonest on this point because they'll argue, well, my election was fine, but the election for the president is the one where all the fraud occurred. I mean, you cast votes on one ballot and the ballot's either real or not. So
yeah, same ballot,
yeah, I think
it
causes problems for them.
Right. Same machine, same
Right.
people counting, same, okay. Well, it certainly is interesting. I bet this is not how you want Georgia to be in the news, but here we are. Ryan, thank you so much for your time today and your insight and expertise.